Chapter 2: Communication and Customer Service. Communication is a skill we use in every interaction in life. All people need to feel that they are being heard. In this chapter, we will discuss the skills you need for effective communication with others. These skills are essential in providing excellent customer service to residents and their families. You will learn how to communicate in various ways to meet the residents' special needs and how to use communication skills to resolve conflicts should they arise. How we communicate counts. Moving into a long-term care facility can leave residents feeling isolated and lonely. They are surrounded by strangers whom they depend on to help them with their most basic needs. Talking with a caring person can help alleviate feelings of sadness, loneliness, or abandonment. When you show residents that you understand their feelings, they begin to trust you. Residents who feel heard and understood are more likely to share their feelings and needs. A trusting relationship can develop when they feel cared for and know what to expect. Effective communication is the key to creating a trusting relationship. It is important because it improves residents' quality of life, helps you gain residents' cooperation and build trust, adds to residents' and family satisfaction as well as your own, shares information about any changes you observe about residents, assists the healthcare team in planning individualized care for each resident, makes your job easier and more enjoyable. A big part of your job as a nurse assistant involves communicating with residents. Our culture emphasizes words in many forms: print and digital newspapers, magazines and books, radio, television and movies, lectures, conversation, and text messages, and of course the massive amount of information available online. But communication is more than just words. It is a process that involves both sending and receiving messages. We do this through a variety of methods such as verbal communication, using words and active listening, nonverbal communication, through body language, expressions, and touch, visual symbols, such as traffic lights, road signs, and emojis. Words, actions, and symbols help give our lives structure, safety, and comfort. This is especially true in long-term care facilities. Effective communication can improve the quality of your relationships with residents and your ability to provide the best care. All of these aspects of communication are very important in your role as a nurse assistant. Verbal communication. Verbal communication involves spoken or written words. That sounds simple enough, doesn't it? But words can have many different meanings depending on one's background, culture, and education. You don't always automatically know what someone means, even when they use familiar words. You have to understand the context of their words. As a nurse assistant, you must communicate in a manner that the resident understands, and you must pay attention to signs that show when they do not. Your tone of voice, the speed at which you speak, and the clarity of your spoken message tell the listener much more than just what the words mean. You can make it easier for others to understand what you are saying if you make use of the tips shown in Box 2-1. In an environment where residents and staff may represent many cultures, languages, and customs, there are some important points to remember when caring for residents. If you do not speak a resident's primary language, you must find someone to translate for you, such as a family member or another staff member. Demonstrate that you really care by making an effort to learn some words in the resident's native language. If your primary language is not English, you must speak only English with English-speaking residents and also when you are around them. Staff members who speak to each other in a language that residents do not understand are indirectly violating these residents' rights. Some residents may feel that the staff are talking about them and feel intimidated or threatened. This is particularly true with confused residents who may be having difficulty understanding what is going on around them. Speaking in another language creates the impression that you do not want them to understand what you are saying. Avoid using medical terms with residents, or if you must use them, clearly explain their meaning. Nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication is any type of communication that does not involve words. Body language includes facial expressions and eye movements, your posture, and the position of your body and your movements. Here are some examples. Standing with your hands on your hips or with your arms crossed may be interpreted as signs of anger or defensiveness. In many cultures, maintaining eye contact while speaking conveys attention and caring, but in some cultures, this is regarded as a sign of disrespect. Moving quickly communicates that you are in a hurry and may not have time for conversation. Sitting down to talk with someone communicates that you are interested in them and care enough to take the time to talk. Facial expressions can convey many feelings, including happiness, humor, concern, pain, anger, frustration, and sadness. If you are experiencing negative feelings, your face will usually show it. Many times we are unaware of the nonverbal messages that our body language and expressions are sending to others. While at times we may use words to hide our true feelings, our body language usually reveals the truth. Examples of body language to avoid are rolling your eyes, sighing, smirking or using disrespectful gestures, turning your back on the resident, crossing your arms across your chest, or standing with your hands on your hips. Pay close attention to the verbal and nonverbal messages that you send to residents and coworkers. For example, if a resident asks you to do a task that you cannot easily do immediately, pause to discuss alternatives instead of expressing frustration or a sense of being rushed. Together, you can create a plan that works for both of you. And when caring for residents, watch for their nonverbal messages as you listen to their verbal communication. Touch. Touch is an important form of nonverbal communication. It can be comforting, neutral, or intimidating. Some people use their hands when talking and naturally reach out and touch others. Others are not comfortable being touched. To them, touch is an invasion of their personal space. Learn about each resident's comfort level with touch. Figure 2-4. Be aware of your own feelings about touching others and being touched. Some find it easier to touch someone else than to accept being touched themselves. Active listening. The more you know about another person, the better you can communicate with them. You have many chances to learn about residents throughout your daily contact with them. The skill you need most is listening. Active listening is a way of listening to another person that improves mutual understanding. It means paying attention to more than just the spoken words. Active listening includes observing body language and doing your best to understand the feelings behind the words. Listening with empathy means that you make an effort to put yourself in the other person's shoes to understand what she is feeling and experiencing. There are several important skills that you will need to practice to become a better listener. First, understand that effective listening takes time. You can learn quite a bit about residents' likes and dislikes, activities they participated in before entering the facility, and their family relationships. Take time to sit and talk and listen to whatever is on their mind. This demonstrates that you are interested in them and that they matter to you. Other key elements of good listening are: avoid distractions such as cell phones. Be relaxed and unhurried when you talk with residents. This helps to put them at ease. Make eye contact with those who are comfortable with it. Lean toward them and nod occasionally as they speak. Try to keep your face at the same height as theirs by sitting, squatting, or kneeling close to their bed or chair. Let silence happen when residents talk. Do not try to hurry them. If you do not understand something a resident says, ask them to repeat it. If you still do not understand, ask someone else for help. Do not pretend to understand when you don't, because a trusting relationship depends on honest and clear communication. Be aware of your body language when you are listening. Maintain an open posture, with your arms comfortable at your sides or in your lap. Avoid crossing your arms in front of you or placing your hands on your hips. If the resident is comfortable with touch, you can touch him or her on the shoulder or arm from time to time while you talk. Sit close enough for residents to see you clearly, but not so close that you invade their sense of personal space. Validating communication. To ensure that residents receive the precise message you mean to send, you need to validate or confirm whether or not he or she understands your intended message. Sometimes you know the communication was effective because the person does what you requested. In other cases, you know how the message was received by observing the person's body language and facial expressions. Another way to validate communication is a technique called reflection. This means that you restate in your own words what the other person said. You can also use this technique to encourage a resident to continue talking. If your interpretation is correct, this shows that you understand the speaker's feelings and intentions. If your intonation is not correct, this gives the speaker a chance to clarify what they were saying. Promoting effective communication. In addition to the techniques that you have already learned, keep in mind the following guidelines for promoting effective communication. Show respect for residents by calling them by their title and surname unless they request otherwise. Do not use nicknames such as dear, sugar, or honey. Explain new procedures before you carry them out. Plan activities with residents ahead of time and always keep your word. If something prevents you from keeping a promise, explain why. Respect a resident's feelings. Do not dismiss their comments such as, things aren't all that bad, or don't talk like that, it's going to be fine. Give hope, but not false reassurances. Always assume that a resident can hear you. Even if the person seems unresponsive, continue to explain who you are and what you are doing. Offer residents choices in all their daily activities. Look for ways to encourage residents to keep control over their lives. Always ask first if it's okay to do something related to their care. Ask them what they want to wear, when they want to take a bath, and when they want care. When possible, teach residents or family members how to do some of the residents' grooming if they wish. Ask open-ended questions that encourage residents to talk rather than asking questions with yes or no answers. Say, how do you feel about this? Or, tell me about that. Respect residents' privacy by not sharing personal information about them except with staff members who need to know. Ending a conversation. Communication is important, but so is getting your daily work done. How do you politely end a conversation when you must leave a resident to do something else? Try to end the conversation so that the resident feels good. You can simply say, I've really enjoyed talking to you. Can we continue this conversation? I have to check on some other residents now. When you start a conversation, you can say, I have about 10 minutes before I have to do something else. Could we talk for a few minutes? When the time is up, you can say, I have to go now, but I'd like to talk more later. Set a time for this if you can, and be sure you come back. Never make a promise you cannot keep. If you are not communicating effectively with a resident, will it affect their care? A resident or family member who is not comfortable talking with you may complain, withdraw, or feel that no one is interested in them. Poor communication also poses the risk of residents missing opportunities for relationships with other residents. Effective communication enhances residents' quality of life and keeps you engaged in your work as you continue to have a helping relationship with the residents you care for. Special communication needs. Some residents have physical, mental, or emotional problems that make communication difficult. These include hearing or vision loss, difficulty speaking due to an illness, stroke, or improperly fit, depression, anxiety, or memory loss, behavior problems. When you are dealing with residents with special communication needs, you will need to use certain techniques that help promote effective communication. Hearing impaired residents. When communicating with residents with a hearing impairment, follow these guidelines. Eliminate or reduce background noise as much as possible. Face the resident when you are speaking so they can see your lips. This may be helpful to residents who have developed some lip-reading ability. Speak clearly and don't slur your words. Be sure you have the person's attention and maintain eye contact. Use gestures or point to objects as you speak, and encourage the resident to use his or her hands to point to things they want. If the person's hearing is better on one side, position yourself so that you speak toward that side. You may touch a resident gently to get their attention. If a resident has a hearing aid, encourage its use. Be sure the hearing aid is clean and working properly. Repeat what you said if a resident asks you to. If necessary, say it again using different words. In some cases, you may need to write down on paper what you are saying. Always be patient. Visually impaired residents. When communicating with a resident who is blind or has impaired vision, follow these guidelines. Be sure the room has good lighting and sit where the person can best see and hear you. If a resident has glasses, make sure they are wearing them and that the glasses are clean. If a resident has another vision aid, such as a magnifying glass, encourage its use. Be sure to introduce yourself when you start talking to the resident. Continue talking so they know what you're doing and where you are. When appropriate, touch the resident to let them know where you are. Encourage the resident to use touch to find things in the immediate environment. Try to keep things in the same place, a place the resident prefers, so that the resident becomes familiar with their location. This helps residents be more independent in self-care. If a resident asks you to read mail or other personal documents to them, of course do so, but only when asked. Describe the items the resident will be using, including their location. For example, describe the food on the resident's plate using the location of the items. Speech-impaired residents. Communicating with residents with impaired speech is a necessary skill in most long-term care facilities. Strokes and other brain injuries can often cause a condition called aphasia, which is characterized by a partial or total loss of the ability to communicate verbally or in writing. With aphasia may have difficulty expressing themselves and understanding what you are saying to them. Some residents cannot speak but can read. Others may not be able to read, speak, or write. The specific limitation depends on the underlying reason for the loss of speech. Talk with the charge nurse to learn more about the resident's condition and how best to communicate with the resident. Residents who have difficulty being understood may give up and become depressed or frustrated. They may withdraw and no longer try to communicate. Your time and patience can make a big difference in these instances. Try these ways to promote communication. Encourage the resident to use his or her hands to point or to touch things that help communicate their message. Ask questions they can answer with a yes or no. Since it is understandably frustrating for these residents to make themselves understood, let them express their anger and frustration if it occurs. If needed, simply sit quietly with them and continue your efforts to understand what they are saying. When you have developed an understanding of what a resident's particular sounds or symbols mean, share this information with other staff so they can communicate better with the resident. You can put a chart on a nearby wall that defines the signs or symbols the person uses. You can post a list showing common phrases a resident might use. This allows him or her to point to what they need or the question they want to ask. Cognitively impaired residents. Cognitive impairments include a range of conditions that affect memory and thinking and decision-making skills. Communicating with a resident who is cognitively impaired is not only more challenging for you as the caregiver, it is frustrating for the resident as well. Some residents may have significant memory loss. Many residents cannot remember recent events, short-term memory, but clearly remember people from events from their childhood, long-term memory. Encourage them to talk about things they can remember. Follow these guidelines. Keep your questions and directions short and simple. Repeat information if needed. Try to understand the residents' feelings and their perceptions of the world, and use use helpful visual reminders such as referring to calendars and clocks throughout the facility. A wall chart in the room can help a resident remember daily routines, such as the steps in getting dressed or the times that the meals are served. Figure 2-8. Due to memory loss, sometimes what residents say may not make sense to you. Never laugh at them or make fun of anything they say. Residents who are depressed, anxious, or discouraged. When communicating with a resident who is depressed or feeling anxious or discouraged, there are some key things to remember. Some residents become depressed when they are having trouble adjusting to the facility. They may have experienced many losses, and moving to a facility is a huge life change. Your most important guideline is to be patient, understanding, and consistent. The following additional tips may be helpful. Spend extra time sitting with a resident, even if they are not talking to you. Invite them to participate in their own care. For example, you might say, "I'll get a basin of water. While I'm doing that, why don't you get out your shaving cream and razor?" Set goals for the resident. Make suggestions such as, "Today we'll just walk to the nurse's station and back. Tomorrow I'd like you to walk with me to the dining room." Ask family members and friends about the resident's past interests and hobbies. Then try to engage them in conversation about those interests. Invite them to participate in social activities when they feel ready. No matter what, be patient and keep trying. When you show you care, the residents may eventually respond. The following tips are helpful in dealing with residents who need support and encouragement. Encourage physical activity. This helps to maintain muscle tone and flexibility of joints. If residents ask you to do something for them that they can do for themselves, you can suggest, "You do as much as you can, and I'll help you with what you can't do." Being independent to the degree possible helps residents feel better about themselves. The caregiving team should use a consistent approach for residents who need more encouragement. When they begin to participate more in their care, give encouragement or praise such as, "You did a good job. You should be proud of your accomplishment." Or, "I'm glad to see you out of your room. I hope we'll see you out more." Or, "I'm glad you tried that. Tomorrow maybe you can do a little bit more." Residents with behavioral problems. Special communication needs arise with residents who have behavioral problems or who may act out in inappropriate ways. A resident may make sexual advances or inappropriate comments. In such cases, you need to communicate clearly that you do not like the behavior and that you would like for it to stop. You might say, "That makes me very uncomfortable. Please don't do it again." Some residents, however, due to cognitive issues, cannot control their behavior. In these situations, the best thing you can do is to distract them with another topic or activity. Behaviors such as sexual advances or inappropriate remarks or jokes may make other residents uncomfortable. It is important that residents who are not mentally competent be protected from unwanted advances. Some precautions you can take include: watch mentally impaired and vulnerable residents closely. Protect other residents from unwanted sexual advances by a behaviorally challenged resident. This often requires moving the person with the problematic behavior into a separate area to keep them from annoying or threatening other residents. Try to spend time with those with behavior issues and look for activities they might enjoy. Focusing their attention on a pleasant activity can help replace the inappropriate behavior with positive social interaction. Aggressive residents. Aggression is defined as a hostile or violent behavior toward others. Some residents may be verbally or physically aggressive with you or other residents. You must protect residents from harm, but you must also protect the rights of the abusing resident. In cases of verbal abuse, you can acknowledge the resident's feelings. Often the person is making negative or nasty statements as a way of venting anger or frustration, as we all do occasionally. In cases of physical abuse, you must act to prevent harm to others. It is important that you do not allow an aggressive resident to injure another resident or staff member. A resident may express anger or distress by yelling or cursing, hitting, kicking, headbutting, biting, spitting, or throwing things. Residents who witness a conflict between others may become anxious and need your support and reassurance that you and other staff members will keep them safe. The following are ways to prevent aggression and protect residents from. Know residents very well, what they are feeling and thinking, and why they act as they do. Constantly monitor their moods, which can change without any reason you can see. Try to understand what they are feeling and adjust your words and actions to meet their needs. Understanding an aggressive resident is not always easy, especially if they are on medication or depressed, ill, overly tired, or in pain. Still, you can learn what the person is feeling by talking with him or her, observing facial expressions, and paying attention to what the prior shift reports about the resident's attitude or actions. The following guidelines will help you remain calm and protect both yourself and your residents. Never surprise a resident or let them surprise you. Never approach a resident from behind and touch or startle them. When you do approach residents, smile and speak in a soft, friendly voice. Never give a resident a direct order or command. Always phrase your wish as a request. Use short sentences and ask simple yes or no questions. When appropriate and when it will not surprise the resident, gently touch them. This can be reassuring and communicates that you care. Don't rush. Determine if the resident is willing to listen to you, then allow plenty of time for them to hear and understand you. Evaluate the situation as unemotionally as you can and do not take a resident's actions personally or consider yourself to be the cause of negative behavior. An aggressive resident may have a brain disease or another type of mental impairment and not mean to hurt or annoy you. They are struggling with feelings or pain that may be difficult to understand or express, and you just happen to be there when they could not cope any longer. Never argue with a resident no matter what they say to upset you. Always stay calm and be patient and understanding. Figure 2-10. Conflict resolution. Conflict resolution is the process of finding a peaceful solution to a disagreement. Resolving conflicts can be a very rewarding experience. Successfully resolving conflicts is a key part of respecting residents' dignity and valuing their rights. It also contributes to a positive work environment. Understanding the causes of conflict and how people react is very important. With this understanding, you can learn to resolve conflicts in a productive and rewarding way. Conflict is often a very personal thing. What you perceive as a conflict may not be viewed that way by someone else. Conflict can be defined as a situation in which one side or person tries to gain something at the expense of people have differing or seemingly incompatible ideas, interests, or values. A disagreement arises among two or more people. People are trying to meet a goal in different ways. Before you can practice effective conflict resolution, you must recognize your own reaction to conflict. When you find yourself in a situation that involves conflict, step back and look at your own motives and actions. Take stock of your emotional response and judge whether it is appropriate. Ask yourself, what is going on? Why am I so upset? Step back and observe the situation and yourself, and take time to understand what is going on. Ask, am I reacting to the situation or to something else? This process of self-discovery helps you focus your emotional energy so you can find a productive solution. People react to conflict in different ways. Typical reactions include the following. Avoidance is trying to escape from rather than deal with an issue. With this approach, the conflict is not dealt with and usually continues. Competition is the opposite of avoidance. One of the parties in the conflict takes action against the other person in an attempt to beat that person, as in a competition. The action taken may not have anything to do with the original conflict. Accommodation is giving in to the other person. In doing so, your own needs are not being met, and you may be agreeing to something that goes against your better judgment simply to end a disagreement. Compromise means that both people give up something in order to resolve the problem. Neither one wins or is completely satisfied. Then both parties settle for something less than or different from what they wanted, but both agree to the terms and to letting the issue go. Collaboration is the best reaction to conflict. When both sides collaborate to resolve a problem, they work together to come up with a reasonable solution. Often both parties feel that they win when they make an effort to understand the other's position and work together on the solution. People tend to react defensively when they feel another person is attacking their integrity or questioning their competence, ethics, or values. People tend to react defensively when they feel another person is attacking their integrity or questioning their competence, ethics, or values. When both parties become defensive, it is very difficult to resolve the conflict. There are 4 common defensive reactions to conflict. Have you ever reacted in any of the following ways? Taking things personally, running for cover, creating a diversion or distraction, or attacking the other person? None of these reactions are helpful, and all are likely to make it more difficult to resolve the conflict. Effective communication when conflict occurs. Understanding other people can be very challenging. Misunderstandings happen because 2 people may experience the same event or situation differently. Communication sometimes breaks down when people view conflict as a personal attack. There are several common barriers to communication: defensiveness, reacting to a perceived threat, denial, ignoring or blocking true feelings or the truth about a situation, and feeling helpless or powerless in a situation. Understanding these barriers and how to deal with them will make you a better communicator. Understand your role in the conflict and the potential barriers to clear communication. Consider the timing and place of your communication. It is best to discuss problems or issues when both parties are not and have time to pay attention. Try to talk in a private place. Never discuss personal issues in front of others, especially residents. Make sure that your nonverbal communication indicates openness and willingness to talk. Always address the issue, not the person, to prevent him or her from becoming defensive. Be courteous, understanding, and honest. Use I statements, not you statements. With I statements, you take responsibility for your feelings. Make an effort to be clear and ask appropriate questions to ensure that the other person understands your point and you understand his or hers. Successful conflict resolution. Successfully resolving conflicts requires that both parties understand the problem, discuss it, and agree to a solution. Learning to resolve conflicts is an important part of your job training because an unresolved problem can affect your ability to provide proper care and to work well with other staff. When conflict occurs, it's best to deal with it right away to prevent it from becoming a larger problem. Following are conflict resolution steps that may work in many situations. 1. Listen carefully and try to understand the other person's position and feelings. Step 2. Clearly explain what you mean and why you feel the way you do. Both parties need the opportunity to vent their emotions and clear up any misconceptions. Making an effort to communicate clearly helps calm strong emotions, and each person has the chance to be heard. Sometimes steps 1 and 2 are enough to resolve the conflict. When they do not, use the third step. Step 3. Collaborate. Once you both agree that you understand each other's position, you then work together to come up with a solution. Customer service. Customer service is the act of taking care of a customer's needs. Serving the customer, the resident, defines your job as a nurse assistant. People enter healthcare professions because they want to help people. Most of the people that you will serve are dealing with failing health or are in the process of recovering from an illness or injury. Everything that you do is centered on the principle of service. Customer service is not just a collection of tasks. It has to be part of who you are. You will use this skill with residents, families, supervisors, peers, and guests. It is important that you think about what customer service means to you as an assistant as you begin your healthcare career. You will learn what it takes to provide positive customer experiences through the use of communication skills, understanding customers' expectations, and being attentive to their needs. You will understand the effect of customer service on the quality of care for residents and the impact that it will have with your coworkers. There are 2 types of customers. External customers are those who seek services from your organization, facility. External customers include residents, families, guests, vendors, medical facilities, and healthcare providers outside of the facility. You will also serve internal customers within the organization. Those include supervisors, peers, and people in other departments. Good internal customer service has a positive effect on care and can enhance your facility's image within the community. Organizations in which everyone provides good customer service to both and external customers report greater job satisfaction, lower absenteeism, higher morale, and less turnover. Serving customers is a key part of every job and has a definite impact on the overall success of every type of organization. Successful facilities have fewer complaints from residents and family members and more satisfied employees. You must be willing to respond to the needs of not only residents but also their families and guests. How you treat them and respond to their concerns will affect how they feel about the facility and what they have to say about it to members of the community. You need to make sure that you have satisfied customers. You can do this by developing a service mentality. Key aspects of service mentality are summarized in Table 2-1. When you fully understand and embrace the service mentality, you can balance many different needs and make good decisions. In recent years, long-term care services have increased to include a wide range of facility types and home and community-based programs. Customers can select the long-term care environment that best suits their needs and financial resources. For your organization to be the top choice for residents and families, you must deliver good customer service. Great customer service by nurse assistants improves the quality of care for residents, enhances the overall quality and reputation of the organization, increases opportunities for the professional growth of employees within the organization. What customers expect. What residents expect today is not the same as even 10 years ago. People are better informed and have more choices available to them. They know how to use the internet to search their options. Residents are more independent and want more input into their care. Excellent customer service means giving your residents both the care they need and the care they want. To provide the best service possible, you must know the expectations customers have for your work. These expectations go beyond providing just basic service. Average is no longer good enough. Residents and their families want excellent care, and this has become the new minimum standard. Residents expect nurse assistants to be confident and friendly, smile when you greet them and talk with them, build relationships and rapport, be accountable for your actions, provide all necessary care and find solutions for problems quickly. Be consistent in what you say, do, and how you provide care. Providing excellent customer service. Customer service begins with the first contact. A positive first impression sets the tone for everything that happens from that point on. Greeting staff members, visitors, and residents is a key part of good customer service. Everyone who enters the facility deserves a hello from staff members. Figure 2-13. You ignore or fail to greet or speak to family members. This sends the message that they are not important to you. It is important to treat our residents and families the way we would want to be treated. This means we have to be flexible and do all we can to make the resident and family happy. We need a whatever-it-takes attitude. Figure 2-13-Pickup 6E, Figure 31-1, page 547. Awareness is being conscious of what is going on in your environment. It is also an important skill to develop in everything you do, especially as you observe and attend to residents' needs. You need to understand what the resident and family want, need, and expect so that you can respond appropriately. As you give care to the residents, observe what they say and be aware of any changes in their physical appearance, speech, and behavior. Always report your observations to your supervisor. Often you are the first to notice even the slightest change in a resident's appearance or behavior. Sometimes these small changes are very important because there may be a serious underlying reason for the change. You play a major role in their care by observing and reporting all changes you see. Maintaining a keen sense of awareness is essential in maintaining great customer service skills. The family as customer. While you primarily serve the resident, his or her family is also your customer. How you greet family members, how you talk with them about the resident, and how you address their concerns all affect the view of their loved one's care. It is important to have a positive relationship with residents' family, friends, and significant others. They can provide valuable feedback and guidance and should be considered part of the resident's care team. Think of the family as your partner. Figure 2-14. With a partner, you share common goals and decision-making. Family members who are well-informed will support the resident's goals for care. Keep them informed, treat them with respect, and they will usually support your efforts. Trust is needed for good customer service. Customers who trust the caregiver are happier and spread positive feelings in the community. To gain the trust of residents' families, you need a consistent approach, which includes the following. Use common language that people without medical training will understand. Don't use medical or technical terms or abbreviations. Keep family members informed. Talk with them often and tell them what you're doing and why. Keeping family members updated about their loved one's condition and progress makes them feel included and helps to build trust. Honor commitments. If you make a commitment, do all that you can to keep it and do it on time. If you cannot carry out a promised task right away, then it is important to let the family know that you will complete it as soon as you can. As hard as you try to make sure you are communicating well and providing excellent customer service, occasionally concerns or conflicts will arise. Occasionally conflicts or concerns will arise. This can occur if family members have unrealistic expectations. It can also happen due to the stress of placing a family member in a care facility. Family members may express hostility towards staff and be critical of the care provided. They may also request that a physician be called in more frequently than necessary or demand special treatment for their loved one. They may overreact to situations or make numerous complaints. They may even threaten legal action against the facility. There are often reasons we are unaware of behind negative or critical behaviors. Family members may be experiencing emotional and/or financial stress. Their loved one's needs for care may be a reminder that they won't have them forever. Be sure to keep in close communication with the healthcare team about any situation that arises. If you inform your supervisor about family members' actions and inquiries, they can take appropriate measures and, if needed, set up a meeting to address any concerns. How residents perceive their care. For residents, customer satisfaction involves how they perceive the quality of their care and the services they receive. In all daily tasks, you must always consider how the resident feels about their care. Residents should direct their care to the degree that they are able. Nurse assistants who understand and implement the following steps provide the best customer service. Always ask residents what they want. Provide high-quality care and services with a smile. Figure 2-15. Do whatever it takes to make the answer yes. Adopt the attitude that you will always try to do the job right the first time. Always keep your promises. Ask for and encourage input from family members. Go out of your way for all your residents. Over-deliver. Strive to make extra effort your standard effort. Figure 2-15. Pick up 66E, Figure 31-3, page 549. Customer service in difficult situations. Sometimes, no matter how hard we try, problems occur. When people are upset, they get emotional. Figure 2-16. Your ability to respond to the emotional needs of your residents and their family members is one of the best skills for dealing with difficult situations. The customer needs to know that you understand what he or she is trying to tell you about their needs. There are 3 key things to remember in dealing with problems or conflict. Listen, don't take anything personally, and be aware of your responses. Figure 2-16, pick up 6E, Figure 31-7, page 553. Listening is an essential skill for nurse assistants. The first step in identifying residents' needs is listening to what they say. Let them present the issue and actively listen to what is on their mind. Be sure not to interrupt before they're finished. Residents, families, and your team all make requests, and it's important that you understand what is being said, and sometimes what is not being said. As you learned earlier, people communicate both verbally and non-verbally. When you are attentive and aware, you will be able to determine what the resident customer wants and needs, prevent misunderstandings and errors, gather clues about ways you can improve the service you provide, build long-term trusting relationships. Becoming defensive is a natural response in any difficult or emotional situation, especially if you feel that you are being attacked or wrongly accused. But it is important to not take things personally and to stay focused on the resident's needs and well-being. When you respond with empathy, you remain calm and in control. Only then are you at your absolute best. You can then be ready, willing, and able to help your customer. Successfully managing difficult situations depends on good communication skills and responding appropriately. You need to understand how your own behavior and language affect other people. You must be careful to avoid trigger words, which are words or phrases that can make a situation worse by provoking the other person. Examples of trigger words are calm down, be quiet, you need to listen, or you don't understand. Phrases such as these give the impression that you are being disrespectful and talking down to someone. This type of response only makes the situation worse by keeping everyone frustrated. How you physically react is also important. Do not roll your eyes or turn away while others are talking. Pay attention to what is being said and keep an empathetic attitude. Maintain eye contact. Acknowledge what is being said with phrases such as, "I hear your concern," or "I see that this is very upsetting to you." Responses such as these show compassion. When people know that they are heard, this goes a long way in diffusing tense situations. Your role with supervisors, peers, and others. Customer service also involves how you interact with your supervisors, other members, visitors, and guests. Working as a team requires self-respect for all individuals who make up the team. You can show respect on a daily basis by following these guidelines. Do not gossip. Gossip hurts people. While it may seem harmless, it can be insulting and abusive. Avoid sharing negative information about other people. You should also refuse to listen to gossip. If someone takes a conversation in that direction, you can simply say that gossip is not something you're comfortable with. Start each interaction with a greeting. A simple smile and a warm greeting are important in developing positive relationships with your peers and creating a more positive work environment. Other people recognize a genuine response and a service-oriented attitude. Be courteous and personable with others at work. Ask people how they would like to be addressed. Everyone feels honored when they are called by the name they prefer and appreciates when others remember it. Always show respect for your peers and supervisors. This is vital in the long-term care environment. Quality of care can suffer as a result of a poor working relationship among team members. Even when you're in a hurry, remember to speak kindly to your fellow coworkers. Always treat your coworkers with the same respect that you would want for yourself. It is very important for the organization to have an honest and respectful work environment at all levels. Blending customer service into daily care. As you incorporate customer service into your caregiving, you must understand your role in meeting residents' needs and helping to resolve residents' problems. See Table 2-2. If you do not know how to handle a specific problem, discuss it with a supervisor or coworker who does. Tell the resident what you're doing to solve and then make your best effort. While not every issue has a solution, customer satisfaction depends on the effort you make to solve the problem and meet the resident's needs. When you have a customer service focus, you use active listening skills when talking with residents. You never make excuses for poor service. You work to solve problems by taking a positive approach. You remain thoughtful and never let caregiving tasks become routine. Balancing your technical skills with the art of caregiving shows residents that they are important to you. Good customer service during daily care includes making residents feel more comfortable and maintaining their dignity. Residents may feel embarrassed about having to rely on others to care for their basic needs, which they have done for themselves for most of their lives. Asking about their preferences, offering choices, and making accommodations to meet their requests helps establish a good relationship. Often it is the simple things that make a difference for residents. Always give residents a choice in their care. They need to be involved in choosing how and when they are bathed or showered and dressed, and you can make sure that their hair is combed or styled the way they prefer. There are aspects of customer service related to meals. Is the food presented in a way that you would want to eat it? Is this when, where, and what the resident likes to eat? Who do they want to eat with, or do they prefer to eat in their room while watching a favorite show? A mindful caregiver considers what the resident likes and wants. Some individuals have specific requests for meals based on cultural and dietary preferences. Individual choice and resident-centered care are not only expected in long-term care facilities, they are required. Customer service also relates to residents' participation in activities. Asking and honoring each resident's request for their activities is very important. Learning about activities and hobbies they participated in before coming to the facility and working to recreate those can provide hours of enjoyment for residents. Figure 2-17. This type of socialization can play a significant role in maintaining residents' overall well-being and enhancing their quality of life. Points to remember. Verbal communication involves words to express oneself and active listening to understand what others are saying. Nonverbal communication is communication that occurs through body language, expressions, gestures, and touch. Touch is a form of nonverbal communication that can be pleasant, reassuring, neutral, or intimidating. It is important to learn residents' comfort level with touch and to respect their boundaries. Active listening improves mutual understanding. It involves paying attention to spoken words and nonverbal cues. Effective communication is based on respect for each resident and developing an understanding of each resident's unique needs and capabilities. Effective communication is also an essential part of building a positive working relationships with supervisors and coworkers. You will care for residents with special communications needs. You'll need to learn to use techniques that promote effective communication with people who have problems with hearing, vision, and speech, and those who are cognitively impaired. Residents with mental impairments and other conditions may behave inappropriately or aggressively. You must remain calm at all times and help guide the resident toward more appropriate behaviors to ensure their safety and safety of other residents. Successful conflict resolution involves 3 steps. 1. Listen carefully to the other person's concerns and viewpoint. 2. Clearly explain your perspective on the issue. And 3, collaborate to find a mutually acceptable solution to the issue or problem. Customer service is the act of taking care of a customer's needs. The resident is your primary customer, and a key focus of your job is to effectively meet residents' needs and help improve their quality of life. Residents' families are also important customers you will serve. Excellent customer service by nurse assistants improves resident quality of care, enhances the quality and reputation of the facility, and increases your opportunities for professional growth within the organization. High-level customer service during daily care includes making residents feel more comfortable and maintaining their dignity at all times.